This is A Course in Miracles Manual for Teachers, number 20. What is the peace of God? It has been said that there is a kind of peace that is not of this world. How is it recognized? How is it found? And being found, how can it be retained? Let us consider each of these questions separately, for each reflects a different step along the way. First, how can the peace of God be recognized? God's peace is recognized at first by just one thing. In every way, it is totally unlike all previous experiences. It calls to mind nothing that went before. It brings with it no past associations. It is a new thing entirely. There is a contrast, yes, between this thing and all the past. But strangely, it is not a contrast of true differences. The past just slips away, and in its place is everlasting quiet. Only that. The contrast first perceived has merely gone. Quiet has reached to cover everything. How is this quiet found? No one can fail to find it who but seeks out its conditions. God's peace can never come where anger is, for anger must deny that peace exists. Who sees anger as justified in any way or any circumstance proclaims that peace is meaningless, and must believe that it cannot exist. In this condition, peace cannot be found. Therefore, forgiveness is the necessary condition for finding the peace of God. More than this, given forgiveness, there must be peace. For what except attack will lead to war? And what but peace is opposite to war? Here the initial contrast stands out clear and apparent. Yet when peace is found, the war is meaningless. And it is conflict now that is perceived as non-existent and unreal. How is the peace of God retained once it is found? Returning anger in whatever form will drop the heavy curtain once again, and the belief that peace cannot exist will certainly return. War is again accepted as the one reality. Now must you once again lay down your sword, although you do not recognize that you have picked it up again. But you will learn, as you remember even faintly now, what happiness was yours without it, that you must have taken it again as your defense. Stop for a moment now and think of this. Is conflict what you want? Or is God's peace the better choice? Which gives you more? A tranquil mind is not a little gift. Would you not rather live than choose to die? Living is joy, but death can only weep. You see in death escape from what you made, but this you do not see, that you made death, and it is but illusion of an end. Death cannot be escape, because it is not life in which the problem lies. Life has no opposite, for it is God. Life and death seem to be opposites because you've decided death ends life. Forgive the world, and you will understand that everything that God created cannot have an end, and nothing He did not create is real. In this one sentence is our course explained. In this one sentence is our practicing given its one direction. And in this one sentence is the Holy Spirit's whole curriculum, specified exactly as it is. What is the peace of God? No more than this, the simple understanding that His will is wholly without opposite. There is no thought that contradicts His will, yet can be true. The contrast between His will and yours but seemed to be reality. In truth, there was no conflict, for His will is yours. Now is the mighty will of God Himself His gift to you. He does not seek to keep it for Himself. Why would you seek to keep your tiny, frail imaginings apart from Him? The will of God is one and all there is. This is your heritage, the universe beyond the sun and stars, and all the thoughts of which you can conceive belongs to you. God's peace is a condition for His will. Attain His peace, and you remember Him. So the peace of God. What is the peace of God? It says, how can it be recognized? And that it's unlike all previous experiences. Nothing new that went before, no past associations. It's a new thing entirely. To me, it reminds me of The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's book, and also a lot of Buddhist texts and experiences and meditations that bring us to just the present. And also from the workbook in the course, there's several exercises where it shows us how much that we are actually imposing so much of our past onto the present. And in seeing only the past, we're not actually truly meeting the present. And if we are meeting the present, then truly, without the past, it is quiet. And it says that here. The past slips away, and in its place is everlasting quiet. Only that. Quiet has reached to cover everything. And I've been experiencing more and more these days where I'm sitting more in just quiet. Not all the time, but it's almost like a practice, an intentional, let me just be here, let me just sit with this. Whether it's talking with a person, where often there's this thought or this need that we have to fill it with some space or not that we have to fill it with some space, that we're supposed to fill it with words because we're uncomfortable with that space. We're uncomfortable with that quiet. But if we can actually intentionally invite that quiet, invite that peace into our minds, then that space between people, the space between conversations, actually becomes an opportunity to extend peace. In having a conversation with a friend recently, she was sharing about some past experience that was maybe difficult. And I just sat with no words. I didn't have anything to say because I was just being present. And she said it was so powerful because often if she were to talk with other people, they would immediately jump to trying to problem solve or consoling. And she could feel what just that presence could do. And so, yeah. By the end of this whole course, I'm just not going to have anything to say, probably. Probably just sit in silence. I've actually had this thought or a vision. Sometimes I'm not sure if things have been dreams or visions or thoughts, but if someone gave you a microphone, and with this microphone you had the attention of the whole world, what would you say? And it's come to me several times where I imagine that I would have the attention of the whole world, have this microphone be given to me, and then I would just say nothing. I will continue. How is this quiet found? No one can fail to find it who but seeks out its conditions. God peace can never come to where anger is, for anger must deny that peace exists. Who sees anger as justified in any way or any circumstance proclaims that peace is meaningless and must believe that it cannot exist. Anger, I feel in a lot of spiritual circles, anger is confusing. There are some who sort of demonize anger or reject it or deny it. And then there are some who justify it, who explain why they're justified in feeling angry. But this one line to me really says it all, which is feel angry, but don't justify it. And that takes us to the experience of being just present, where we're not trying to deny, we're not trying to run away from anger, but we're also not trying to justify it, because in doing that, then you're not really present with it, you're not really present, period. And it's almost like that thinking of how we can justify keeping that anger creates this mechanism where then we can stay out of peace longer. And I've been there. Even recently, I found myself feeling angry, and I watched my mind trying to justify, well, it's because of this, this, and this, or this person said this, this, and this. Therefore, I'm allowed to feel angry at them, or I should feel angry because what they're doing is wrong. But that only leads to myself feeling shitty. And so I watched myself feel like that, and I felt so stuck at a point in time. Like, why am I feeling so bad? And I realized that I had created that justification. It's like I had created this little shelter, this little structure where the anger could stay. Instead of just letting the anger be, it was like inviting it in a way in my mind. And then it says here, forgiveness is the necessary condition for finding the peace of God. So what I had to do in my experience, once I realized that I was justifying my anger, was forgiveness. Forgiveness is the way to dismantle those structures, those fake structures in our minds that we've created, that we fabricated in order to justify anger. And it's just a constant practice of forgiveness. And then it talks about peace and what is but peace is opposite to war. And here the initial contrast stands out clear and apparent, yet when peace is found, the war is meaningless. And that's going from a world of duality to a world of non-duality, where when you're in peace, war is meaningless. It's irrelevant. I know that for me, if this world seems to go in that direction, that my focus needs to be peace. Nothing else. And for anyone who might be listening to this that needs that reminder, it's that we need to look for peace within ourselves because we already have it. Is conflict what you want, or is God's peace the better choice? Which gives you more? A tranquil mind is not a little gift. And the refuge that you can find in that quiet and in that peace, it's impenetrable if you really find it. It won't matter what's happening in the world if you really can connect with that feeling. Life has no opposite, for it is God. Life and death seem to be opposites because you have decided death ends life. That is so potent. In the definition that we've given life, it is this animate state in the body. And that, when death comes, then it's the ending of life. And I like this definition that life has no opposite, for it is God. And then it ends. The will of God is one in all there is. This is your heritage. The universe beyond the sun and stars, and all the thoughts of which you can conceive, belongs to you. God's peace is the condition for his will. Attain his peace and you remember him. So that's it. Thank you.